let's talk about Gideon optics for a minute, and in particular, the Omega red dot, packed with features and has a very nice amount of real estate there for your eyes to gaze in that window. This Omega red dot has lived on my PSA dagger for the better part of a year now. You've probably seen it in a bunch of my videos, or at least on my hip on my Blue Alpha range belt, and that's because this gun in particular, this PSA dagger, was actually a staple for my holster. I just take it every time to the range, something I can have as a suppressor host, or something I can use to test different types of magazines for that Glock compatibility. And this Omega kind of fits nicely with those suppressor height sights, and now you can utilize that as kind of a very bottom co-witness, not really a 1/3 co-witness, but a very bottom co-witness, kind of a rough iron sight setup there. But this thing has all the features you want and nothing you don't, and not only that, but the price point is right, and that window is just spectacular. It just allows you to get a hold of that red dot, line it up perfectly every time, and it just has a nice bit of viewpoint there with a nice slim outer protective hood, so that way your eyes aren't getting too distracted or blocking out too much of your sight picture. But let's talk about the features real quick. We're talking about a 3 MOA single dot or a 3 MOA circle dot, red or green, 7075 T6 aluminum construction, 1x magnification. Of course, it's a pistol red dot, runs on an RMR very nicely, as you've seen in this PSA dagger. Eye relief, unlimited, of course, 10 brightness settings with those nice soft squishy buttons on the side. Battery is right up top. It's a CR1632. You can take off the cap, put a new battery in. No need to take the red dot off. No side door there for a battery or side slider there, but having it right on top right there is not too bad. Pretty simple. 50,000 hour battery life. Pretty standard nowadays for these types of red dots. Right about an ounce or so actually for the weight. So you can't really beat that. Kind of right in line with where you want to be. IPX7 water resistant. The exact window dimensions are 22.3 by 27 millimeter. Quite a bit of real estate for you, and it seems to really help with your sight picture. Windage elevation, right where you expect. Top and right side right there. Small little tool you need right there, a little tiny flat head you would need for that. Clicky buttons like we talked about there right on the side. Very tactile. You can't really hear them, but you can definitely feel them. It's not something where it's kind of loose or anything like that, like you'd have for like a rotary knob. Very clicky, very easy to adjust. I've had this thing on the entire year that I've had it. No replacement of batteries. You do need to keep this window clean, especially if you have, and we've seen these in other red dots before, if you have a sloped kind of viewport here for if there's a live round in the chamber, you're gonna see a little bit of that debris kind of getting spit up into your optic. But this glass is actually sloped a little bit, and not only that, but there's a ledge down here where it has that outer shell to protect it for that housing right there. And that housing alone is really nice because now you have something that's a good standoff measure for locking back there. And it protects the glass because you're looking at maybe a few millimeters into the actual housing for where that glass is. And same for the back here. If there's anything in here, now that's not an enclosed optic, it is just a standard open sight red dot. But that being said, it's nice to see that the glass is not only tilted, but well protected. Now, I wasn't smashing this on rocks or, you know, burying it in mud or anything like that. This thing has just been through the normal use and abuse. It does have some wear marks on the front from hitting off of barrels and things like that. Just kind of messing around with it. Standard stuff you would do to a red dot. Now, with this being the price point that it is, there'll be a link down below. I believe code GEAR saves you 7%. So check that out if you want to check this out for yourself. This thing is well under the $200 range at that point with that code. That's pretty good. With the features you get, it kind of falls along in lines with other red dots that are a little bit more than that. And with that viewport being the size that it is, that window being the size that it is, it kind of almost puts it well below some of those larger windows we've seen on other products very similar to this red dot. And it just runs. It seems to be working really, really well. No issues, no flickering dot. 3 MOA is a good size, I think, for your needs. You might want a little bit smaller if you're going out to distance or something like that, but 3 MOA for close, you know, 10, 20, 30 yards. You can go pretty accurate with that. Maybe a 1 or 2 MOA down the road would be kind of cool to see, but for right now, this works. This is actually my first use of any kind of Gideon optics. They seem to be growing. They have a bunch of different products in their lineup. I'll drop a link down below for the rest of the red dots they have. So if you're looking at something a little bit different, maybe a little bit smaller, larger, whatever it is, they seem to kind of cover all of the basis for any kind of red dot you'd be looking for. But with that, I mean, it's a good sight picture, but also it's a little beefy. It's a nice beefy base to it, really, and it has a little bit of overhang on a dagger. So I would say this is more designed for maybe a full-size handgun, but overall, I think it's not that much bigger than other red dots you'd throw on here from Holosun or Trijicon or whichever, right? So I think it holds up very well, and again, that price point is pretty solid. It's a newer brand, last few years or so it seems. I test more of their stuff, to be honest with you. I think it seems to be working really well. I haven't had any issues with it per se. Battery is working good, over a year now, still in the same original battery, cranked up. I think I'm like right at the, yeah, probably like medium. I don't want it too bright. And in daylight, you probably want it at like that 7, 8, maybe 9 setting there. So I just leave it on there, so it's not like it's been low. There is no auto adjustment, it seems. The emitter is right in the back there, shining right up there. So that's something to note. You can actually just cover it up. And that is a problem with the open sight compared to enclosed, right? If there's anything gets in there, that happens for all of them, right? There's a problem where you might get visibility there. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you have any questions at all about Gideon optics or the Omega, hit them down in the comments below. Again, that link GEAR, G-E-A-R, saves you 7%. Parts list down below. As always, train hard. You never know what's coming. Take care of the ones you love. Those are the ones that matter, and we'll see you in the next review.